Okay, let's go to party politics now. And the court interference in party politics. Take, for instance, the PDP. There are conflicting court judgments from Court of Concurrent Jurisdiction, the Abuja, Ibadan. The convention should not hold. The convention should hold. What's your take in all of this?
Well, this is, I wouldn't say, basically the fragmentation or the crumbling or the decay of the political order. Because the decay of politics is only decay of the judiciary and the decay of our representative democracy. It'll be one of the symptoms there. Sometimes this process reaches a high water mark, given the nature and character of a regime. The Milokun philosophy seems to suit this tendency of state capture. Capture the National Assembly, capture the INEC, capture Judiciary, capture security agencies. I've said it. This is now a hybrid regime that Bola Tinubu is running, that the regime that is almost what we call competitive authoritarianism. Whether it is liberal or illiberal, whether it is democratic or not democratic, difficult for you to understand anymore. But the overarching aim is to dismantle what we call the guardrails of democracy. Those guardrails that protect democratic governance. One, civic spaces are shrinking. Look at they bring back the Gears environment where you used to protest against Jonathan. That is the Unity Fountain. It's on the gate. Get there by the DSS. You can't even go there to protest. Look at the Freedom, the kind of protest where the court said we restrict you to certain areas there. They took over the entire city from Kubwa axis to Airport Road axis there to Kano axis and so on. People were shut off. So this government is weaponizing the cyber laws and so on, misapplying it. Okay, labor leaders have even been accused of terror financing. Parties are imploding before our eyes, all because of the standard pressure put on them. That's what you find. So Judiciary is not spared this. But the happy news is this. Factions are normal occurrences and normal developments in a political party. I was a National Secretary for Life for Democracy in 1998 to 2000 and end of 2000, early 2021 or 2001. We had factions, multiple factions, but we kept producing candidates. Why is it so? INEC is a regulator. If you go to INEC now, the head office and say, who is the national chairman of PDP? They will not look at you this way. They say, it is Ambassador Damagu. He's the chairman of the party. He succeeded IU, accepted by everybody, until the legitimate processes that brought him in have been exhausted. He's the chairman. So where he goes is where the party goes. Other important members like me and the national secretary is key, but not as key as the chairman of the party. So what is settled is that Damagu is the leader of the party. Two, INEC intervened in the party crisis, brought the chairman, brought the secretary, brought everybody, attended all their meetings, got all the letters to the convention. So the convention is like a pregnancy now already delivered. What the courts are doing is way in here and there. So what you do is ensure your convention goes successfully. Get robust legal representation. Either you do what they stop the execution of the conclusions or decisions of the first court, get another court to give you that lease of life, get another court if you can, get another one too, do your convention. At the end of the day, the correct legal position will triumph. Apuga, until a few months ago, was in factions for about 14, 15 years. Have you forgotten? When Soludo emerged the first time as the governor of Anambra, he was a factional candidate of Apuga. When Obiano emerged, he was a factional, same with the senators, Ume and the rest of them. So factions are there as tendencies within a party. So it's like having a club. You have either bottles of Fanta or spirit, and you gather there and say you remove the chairman of the party, known to INEC. You gather in another location, say you remove the BOT, headed by Senator Mwabara, known to INEC. And then because you have the resources to advertise it to the media, and I'm being engaged about this absurdity before you here, it doesn't change anything. The chairman of the party is Damagu. Chairman of BOT is Mwabara. Chairman of the governor of Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, Senator Bala Mohammed. And the leadership of the National Assembly caucus is Senator Abamuro. It is known in law. So anything else you do is like you have a freedom of choice, most as a president, an agent planted from outside to destroy the party. The same thing you find in ADC, you find in Labour Party and SDP. It's a trend, not a coincidence. See, the PDP are smart. They should ignore this fashionable noise making, focus on the real issues of the day, do a very fine convention, get a new slate of leaders, and somewhere down the line, execute and discharge this matter in court with robust intervention from the media, from civil society, from protest groups, warning about the dangers to our democracy and our survival as a nation. If you destroy multi-party governance system, if you deny the party's ability to have people there who are going to represent them as candidates, you actually imperiling our democracy. Abacha did it in 1998 with the leprous finger, remember? The five leprous parties. You didn't register a PPP, you didn't register PDM, ANC and all that. You showed them away because he didn't perform well, because if the contest against you will lose. So this president and his team, because he thinks he's not performing well, because 2027 will be on his record. What they accomplished the past 4 years, not what he hopes to accomplish the next 4. He even feels that he hasn't done much. The best thing is not to go for real contest. Is to turn these parties into leprous fingers. So all the parties will be singing hallelujah for him. But that's not going to happen. There will be resistance, both not only from the top, from the bottom, where the people of this country will gather together, adopt a party or two of their choice, have a candidate that represents their viewpoint and the perspective, that carries their narrative torch in their heart, in his heart, delivers a very powerful, struggle in 2027.
There is this perception that the judges have become tools of oppression, and some persons also share the sentiment that justice is right now in life support. With the perception of the judiciary in this light, what is the hope of Nigerians as we approach 2027?
It's a very dangerous portent that augurs not well for anybody in singularity as persons or in our collectivity as a nation. My take is that there are 2 or 3 things that ought to happen. 1, the moral boundaries or contours of the judiciary must be determined and demarcated quickly. And they can't do it on themselves alone. Therefore, you need civil agency and media agency to do so. It is not enough to make powerful statements or proclamations about the decay of the judicial order or the judicial system, about justice being for sale or judges being for sale. It is for investigative journalism to lead the way and light the torch. We are not just making this noise for the sake of demarketing the judiciary. We are making this noise because we have enormous evidence at our fingertips. We have data to prove our point. And then you can begin now to source for this data. It may take time, weeks and months. The moment you come with 1 or 2 powerful stories about the judges, the kind of money they collect, the properties they have, the investment they have, traced to their families and friends and so on. The moment you do that, they do that abroad. It takes money from the media organization to invest in their reporters and researchers and investigative journalists. The moment they come up with it, we told you so. That's why it is for sale. Philosophically speaking, justice is always for sale in any system. Why is it so? The blind lady of justice is not actually blind. She sees everybody, knows who is the rich, who is the poor. That's why I find that it takes 10, 15 years to try a former governor. It takes only a week to try a guy who stole a goat or stole a yam from massacre and jail him. You put in people behind bar at a waiting trial for about 10 years without trying them. They're dying there in bits. But you get a guy who was stealing 1 billion, 30 billion, 200 billion, spending only 2 days in EFCC in comfort, and goes back to his place in Kano, does a double, gets a chieftaincy title, comes to court if he likes, or the songs are there all over him like bees after honey. So the judge system sees all this. The justices know the rich and the poor. They know those who are within the mainstream society, those on the margin or periphery. And they simply construct the justice to suit the rich and the powerful and the oppressive classes, and then the justice to malign the dispossessed, the neglected, the injured, and the abused.
But should it be this way?
It shouldn't be that way. That's what I'm about. Resistance at the lower level, agency of the media, mass protest within the ambit of the law, with the constitutional guarantees in place. Begin to now scream aloud. If you don't scream aloud, sustain the screaming. The problem with the country is that people scream aloud and then pull back. And they're distracted. Short-term memory, collective amnesia, marching to another zone. Even this Trumpian thing, 2 or 3 weeks now behind us. But if you stay the course in engaging it and re-engaging it and calling out the justices by name, by profession, by decisions over a long period of time, there'll be remarkable change.
But the media is also on life support, struggling, gasping for breath. So how do they do all this?
Life support, because
we are product of the society.
If you lose that section of society, because the judicial apparatus is part of government, and there are 3 arms of government: the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. You guys have arrogated to yourself the 4th branch. That is actually the 4th estate of the realm. That means you have even taken the mandate of civil society. But this one, the state is the 5th estate. The 4th estate means the independent estate. It can capture the judiciary. It is part of government. It can capture National Assembly or the Parliament is part of government. To capture the media is the end of society, end of democracy, and we know it. It is not me that will tell the media to resist the pestilence in your midst and in your ranks. It is recognizing the limit situations we all confront, the poverty of our nation, the hunger in the land, the temptation that are bound, but at the same time knowing that the mission of the media is far, far beyond that of the judiciary, the executive branch, the legislative branch. The watchdog of society. At the barometer we measure, social inclusion, exclusion, national transformation, social instability and crisis. The media is tailor-made over time in the common struggle for democracy, The common struggle for liberation during the colonial time, and for the restoration of democracy against military despotism. The media will be called upon now to resist whatever elemental forces impeding on their capacity to engage.
But the tragedy of the media is the fact that most media owners are also members of some of these political parties.
Yeah, but I've been part of the media conversation space. We push back on this. I go to Arise, even channels, even AIT. These are very important media organizations. There's nothing we will not say on Arise television for or against this government. Even channels, people say maybe softer. There's nothing we will not say. There's nothing I've not said there. I've called out the president by name and by record. And all the important people there who are my host there, they've not pushed back on me because I'm not just making noise or just like insulting people. You have to use the element of intellect and experience and wisdom and patriotism to couch your language. AIT, owned by Dokbetson, is still there as independent media. Sahara reporters, they came with many of them premium times. Whatever you can say about some of these entities there, you put out the piece that they carry it. You attack the regime, they carry it. What more do you expect the media to do? So let people exploit even the spaces that are existing now to deepen this conversation, including SYMFONI TV. Am I not here with you? We were here last time. Is there nothing I've not said here that you reflected in your coverage and packaged in your report and so on? That is what the media, and again with social media too, which the state is fighting very hard with the misapplication and misalignment of the cyber laws. It's still very vibrant and robust. That people don't have voices at the mainstream media level, are exploiting the deterritorialized media space. Because media is not comprehensively deterritorialized. There's no single territory of the media. There are multiple territories everywhere. You use those multiple territories and layered territories, either podcasts, blogspot, etc., your opinion editorial and everything and so forth there, to engineer conversation and sustain that conversation for the good of the society and the progress of our democracy.
The PDP, in the light of what has happened and the way they are going, do they still have time to redefine themselves before 2027?
It is their responsibility. I'm not a member of the party. I know a lot of people in the party. Why is it their responsibility? Is to take cue from history and take cue from political evolution of states, not just Nigeria. One, to accept that once you're out of power, it is no longer business as usual. You're no longer comfortable. People will desert your ranks because they're cowardly, they're godless, and they're miserable spirited. The governors who are going, I've given examples about, including my governor of Enugu, they have no anchorage in terms of past. They have no lineage of power. They have no what I call ancestry of power and his understanding or genealogy of power. They can't come back and say 15, 20 years ago, he was a big player in the domain of social struggle or political struggle, or democratic struggle, resistance. They're corporate players. They don't understand what this means. So they work to find themselves in another formation that takes them mainstream to the center in an absurd manner. The party must recognize that. So the party has to reinvent itself as a pro-people's party, as originally claimed in 1998, power to the people. Secondly, the factions are inevitable sometimes in the life of a party. The key thing is that are you legal and legitimate in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the regulator? And now the PDP faction headed by Adamagu is legitimate in the eyes of the law. It's not because I'm the one saying it, it is what the law prescribed. Being the former party leader myself. Once you have that, plan your convention, defy the odds there, deliver on a solid post-convention leadership, and begin the arduous task of rebuilding the party ranks. If you do that between the end of the year, you have the entirety of 2026 to really work towards the convention of the party for the primary election for the presidency. When the election is coming November next year or February, March 2027, the party will have sufficient time, not alone, but in concert with other opposition groups, to come together and then have a powerful resistance to this impunity called APC.